There's an event of human trafficking of teenage girls occurring in the middle of nowhere when two girls, Dia and Tart, turn out to be assassins and start killing people there. Far away, two assassins are hiding, and the moment they get the signal from the two girls, they know the trafficking rumors are true and start hunting down their 6 targets. The assistant wants to kill the rest too, but the man leading her refuses to do more than what was ordered by the organization. As they're about to escape, a drone catches sight of them and starts attacking them. They are trying to flee, but knowing it is hard to escape with their infrared cameras. Locating the car, the man tells the assistant girl to tie the gun to the roof in a way that with every bump, the trigger is pressed on its own. The two then jump out of the car, and since the gunfire is on and the car is moving, the followers will not notice them missing. Their plan is successful as the car is shot to burst, making the enemy assume they're dead. Knowing the infrared cameras can still detect them if they walk around, the man, known to be the world's finest assassin, tells the girl they should wait till the sun comes up so the ground temperature is higher than the body temperature. As they're lying to sleep, the girl asks about his life and gets to know that this assassin was raised in the organization and has sworn loyalty to it, which is why he does as he's told. He tells her he's going to retire after this mission and go train some ninjas in Japan to be assassins. The man calling her a novice offends the girl, but the way he easily takes her gun and points at her and then sneakily takes out the bullets before giving it back gives all the proof that she's too trusting and is a beginner in this job. The next day, they report to the organization and are given fake passports to travel to Japan. However, the plane starts swiveling and a passenger opens the phone to see the news of the plane being hijacked by terrorists. The man realizes that the organization is finishing their business with him by killing him. The assistant and all other passengers become victims without any crime. The man tries to control the plane, but it's of no use since another plane attacks them, leaving no space for him to survive. As the man sinks to the bottom of the ocean, he expresses his pain and frustration of being betrayed by an organization whom he'd have died for if they told him to. Opening his eyes, the man finds himself in front of a goddess who gives him an option to be reincarnated as a new person, or be sent to another fictional world with all his memories and go kill the hero there. The assassin hears out the deal from the goddess as she tells him that he will be born with all his previous memories and he will have time till 18 years to kill the hero. The man has only one condition: that he can live his life with his own free will and expression of emotions rather than the pent-up controlled life like before. The goddess has no issue as long as he does what she wants. After gaining knowledge about this world of sorcerers and swords, he asks why the hero needs to be killed if he's a nice guy. The goddess explains that the hero will kill the demon lord and save the world, but with his exceptional power and ruling the world, he'll stir up chaos and destroy the world on his own after 2 years. So after the hero defeats the demon lord, the assassin will have to kill him. However, if the assassin wants to save the world without killing the hero, it's up to him too. Everyone in that world has at most 5 skills. He will be getting all 5 of them, and he can choose which specific skills he wants from the available options. The assassin has to think thoroughly, as the hero has 30 skills, and he'll have only 5 to defeat him. He chooses Rapid Recovery from S rank skills, Spell Waiver from A rank, Limitless Growth from B rank, Martial Arts from C rank, and a skill from D rank that he doesn't mention out loud, but considers it dumb to be ranked as a basic D. He also picks up all 4 basic attributed of Earth, Wind, Fire, and Water. The goddess isn't amused by his choice of skills, but lets him be with it. She then reincarnates him. The assassin wakes up when he is born into a rich family. He is named Lug by his parents, Kian and Esri. The Tuatha family is a rich family that works as medical professionals for the world, but is secretly assassins for the royals. Talk about convenience that his new family is not only assassins, but fully plan on training him to be undefeatable too. As Lug is 7, he is hunting for his food and polishing all other of his skills till he gets to learn magic from a good teacher. Knowing he needs to be healthy and stronger till the time comes for him to fight the hero, he studies about nutritious meals and cooks them himself. His parents are proud of all his skills, especially Esrai, who is an extra loving mother. Lug, who previously never witnessed the love of a family, seems to be liking it here. Kian examines Lug's physical growth once a week and is impressed how fast he is growing. Lug doesn't plan on letting him down anyway, because his aim aligns with his parents' dream. Kian decides to pass down the mystic eyes of Tuatha de Tolo. This is a family secret passed down via surgery to strengthen eyesight to perceive mana, improve visual acuity, depth perception, and low light vision. After the surgery, poor Lug is cobbled up by his mother till the bandages on his eyes are taken off. However, he is still alert enough to accurately know the placements of his house so he can walk around freely. When Kian takes off his bandages, he He is sat on the terrace and realizes he can see people in the village far away quite easily. He can also see the man his father has. Kian plans on teaching Luke the surgery too, but first he gives Luke the good news of finally finding a mana teacher for him. However, poor Luke has to go with the embarrassment of being dressed as a girl in the first meeting with his teacher, just because ESRI wants to. Ironically, his magic teacher is a kid too, and in a weird series of coincidences, it is Dia, the girl mentioned in the start of the story. Knowing he thought of her as just a kid, she shows him a spell that creates a huge fire, launching from the ground to the sky. It seems like her creating a dramatic introduction for herself as she stands in front of the orange blow, telling him she's one of Swoigel's top 5 mages. Dia is only 10 years old, yet a mentor to someone. She hands Luke a far stone, a stone used to store mana, and tells him to project his mana into that stone so she can see how much of it he carries right now. As the stone starts to glow, she is amazed by how much mana he carries, not expecting that he will keep on projecting all the mana he stored using his limitless growth and other skills, and eventually make the far stone into an explosive. They would have perished with everyone else in the house if Luke hadn't thrown the stone in the air at the right time. His parents come out in haste to see if the two are fine. Kian asks Dia if his son caused it, making Dia scared, and tries to convince him that it was nobody's fault. She is surprised to see that Kian was asking this in all seriousness, just so he could be happy about his son. After they leave, Luke asks Dia for more stones, but they are a treasured object from her home region of Viacone, and can't be accessed that easily. At night, Dia comes to sleep with Luke calling him her younger brother for some reason. The next day, she checks him for 2 attributes, but Luke makes her check for the other 2 too. Dia is shocked to see someone with all 4 attributes, because even she carries only 2. Next, she teaches him attribute conversion because casting spells requires him to choose one. After that, he sees letters in front of his eyes, which Dia tells him is a spell taught by God to him. She chants it in front of him, not expecting him to memorize it right away. Luke then improves his pronunciation to get a better output of copperstone, like Dia did. He learns it at home, and the next day learns how to produce iron with a spell. Figuring the 2 spells sound similar, he makes Dia help him notice the similarities so they can distinguish the words and produce different items. A 7-year-old and a 10-year-old are exceptionally intelligent to notice how the spell is chanted. Luke makes Dia create and chant one for gold, but she falls with a headache. Luke tries it and succeeds. He then writes it on a paper and requests Dia to try it if she wants. This time, Dia succeeds too, making both realize that Luke's spell waver skill is how he can create spells and then anyone can use them. Later on, the 2 of them create rifles for themselves, calling the spell Fire. He then creates a spell Bombard to create a tanker, because he needs stronger skills to fight the hero in future. On her last night, Lou creates a sharp dagger of her from beta titanium alloy, making it a symbol of what they created together. Dia gives him a far stone by making him promise that he'll come to her when she wants to see him. The next day, Dia leaves after praising Luke tenfold in front of his parents. Kian then takes Luke to a prison where they keep criminals for their medical experiment. Luke questions Kian why he made him an assassin with emotions to question before killing someone. Kian tells him that assassins shouldn't be tools. They should be able to consider with their own judgment if what they're doing is right and beneficial or not. This is a take that Luke never witnessed in his past life, so it's quite moving for him. Kian takes Luke for his first kill. It is a 13-year-old girl who has committed many theft crimes and robberies and recently killed an old couple by putting their house on fire because they caught her stealing. She cries and begs to be spared. Luke takes out a similar titanium dagger and cuts her entire hand off. He tells her that losing the blood will make her lose consciousness and she'll die a painless death. The girl starts screaming at Kian, who told her she'd be spared if she won over Luke with her tears and begging. She then starts cursing Luke. It might be the coldest look and tone ever by a 7-year-old, as he says it might not be bad when the girl curses him to be eaten by demons in hell. Luke and his family are out in the market, observing the people and the market conditions. His mother is joyous as ever, emotionally manipulating Luke into forever being a baby for her. Well, Luke is only 10, so no matter how much he calls himself a grown-up, he is still a baby. On the exterior, it may seem like he's out with his parents, but he is using his mystic eyes to look for someone with exceptional mana in them. However, he is unable to find a worthy companion. As the snow season is beginning, Luke decides to go for hunting, so they have enough food for themselves. As he is in the woods, he senses the wolf's pack approaching their prey. Rushing there to steal it, he doesn't expect to see a vulnerable girl in front of him. Deciding to use this as a practice test, he uses different techniques he learned about physiology and combat to kill each wolf one by one. The girl is scared of Luke, but Luke is just asking her who she is. Her name is Tart, and she was thrown away by her poor family because there's less food in the winter, and she was an unwanted kid. She was told about the Tuatha village being rich, so she decided to head this way. Lug makes some porridge for her and tells her to eat slowly so she doesn't get sick. He then tells her he is the son of Tuatha the family. Tuatha mentions her having a dream of God telling her she'll have a fateful experience. Lug tells her that he needs her. Being someone who was never needed, this is a pleasant surprise for Tuatha. She finds Lug a good person, but he tells her he has killed people, and that's the purpose assigned to him. Tuatha still considers him a good person and agrees to accompany him and serve him in his purpose. A little flashback in the life of this cunning 10-year-old. He had sensed how much mana she had, so he brainwashed her from the start by saving her, feeding her, and then sharing a strong secret, so a trust was built between the two of them. Fast forward to 2 years later, Tuatha is healthy and serving as a personal assistant for Lug, doing everything for him. She evidently has a crush on Mr. Assassin as well. She is liked by the parents as well, since she is not only good at personal chores, but also helps Lug as he wants her to. Lug has been teaching her how to be assassin as per his promise to his father. And interestingly, he has to check her physical improvement the same way his father checked his. It might not be weird right now, but let's see how it goes after a year or two. The only issue is that Tuatha is only good with spears, and he wants her to have a hideable weapon as an assassin. Just because Tuatha isn't good with knives doesn't mean she's not trying enough. Poor girl was practicing hard at night when Lug walked up to her and gave her a foldable spear so she can hide it and be efficient in her tasks as well. Seeing her work with the spear, Lug was truly impressed as well. The next day, Lug wakes up to Tuatha's mischievous words and finds her lying with him because he once allowed her to if she gets lonely. Lug is satisfied that his plan is going well by now. Well, except for how this girl likes to cling to him a lot. Lug is loved by everyone around the town, not only due to his aid to the people, but also the fact that he visits them, knows them by name, and is kind in person to everyone. Using the far stone that Dia had gifted him, he learned how to make more. By now, he has numerous far stones, stored as his mana reservoirs. He plans to use them as weapons for future. Summoned in the training room by Kian, Lug is asked about Tuatha. He expresses how promising she is in training, and that he has observed her in various conversations, and she isn't a spy. The suspicion is given since he conveniently found a girl filled with mana when he was looking for one, and that too randomly in a forest. Kian tells Lug that he has a test, after which he will be given jobs as an assassin. The test is to fight Kian, not to win or lose, but to show his potential. The father and son hide in the woods and sneakily try to attack each other, but Kian, being the father, is better at judging Lug's movements, finding his location, and deceiving him with his knowledge of what Lug must be focusing on. However, Lug decides to be thorough in his thinking, and eventually notices how Kian's decoys are working. Dodging to decoys, he eventually has his knife on Kian's neck. Winning against the strongest of Tuatha, Kian has lost to a 12-year-old, but he is proud of it because it's his son. Afterwards, the two of them get on some assassination jobs together so Lug can gain some practical experience. It's his assassination internship. After some time, Kian tells Lug that he needs to change his identity to blend in with others and assassinate people who are constantly surrounded by guards and stuff. Being perfect in planning, Kian had arranged for a fictional person to be born at the same time as him in the famous merchant family of Baylor Trading Company, Ilig Bala. The family agrees as they owed Kian a favor. Lug is supposed to train as Ilig Bala, a merchant, for the next 2 years, so he can be among people without getting caught. Kian throws a family party to announce his son's final training, but one of the youngsters, Rona, is offended that a little kid is being made to take over the family business rather than him. He is made to shut up, practically, as Lug defeats him before Rona could even prepare himself to fight him. Later at night, Lug meets Rona outside, telling him how he defeated Kian, so there's no way anyone else could win against him. Rona is amused as he assumed they were just rumors. Lug then invites Rona to be one of his knights after returning, since he needs him. Lug also gifts him a lightweight sword made of that alloy. Rona accepts the sword, promising to be a better knight when he comes back. The next day, Lug and Tuatha leave for Lug's 2-year final training. Lug changes his hair color and visual appearance so he isn't suspected. A cute little girl, Maha, is acting as a tour guide for the people who visit the town for the first time. She is the daughter of a deceased merchant, so she knows her ways with getting a few earnings, which is why she helps herself and some other homeless kids survive. They are all happy that Maha is finding ways for them to earn money, but none of them knew that their happiness would be so short-lived. Some thugs attack these children and abduct them all. They take them to a creepy old merchant's house who abuses them if they don't listen to him, and keeps them trapped to do as I say. Initially, they're all just working to make dresses and do chores for them, but the older ones end up getting a trauma that they might never outlive. Their bodies are sold to different old men every night. Maha, who has always been a hope to all of them, feels helpless as she watches them suffer every night. 2 years pass just like that, and Maha is 12 now. She's getting some tea to those men when she overhears their sick thoughts and intentions for her. She rushes to the shed and is about to scar her pretty face just to avoid that when a young good-looking boy calls her out. It is Luke, aka Illig. He came to this place to buy a right hand to serve him and chose Maha for it. Maha wants to go with him right away, but the man tells Illig to come get her after 3 days. Luke is unaware of his sick intentions, and Maha and the girls are too scared to utter a word. As Maha is driven away by the sicko at night, she cannot handle accepting this situation and jumps out of the carriage. As she is running away from 2 cheap men, Luke appears there. He claims to have seen Maha's eyes seeking his help. Dealing with such men is no big deal for Luke, and the cherry on top is how impressed and flattered Maha is by him now. Later on, Luke gets all of those offenders arrested and saves all the girls just for the sake of Maha, getting her completely hooked to him. Luke is doing pretty well in the Bala family. Treating Baylor's real son secretly makes Baylor indebted to him yet again, but Luke doesn't want anything more than having a second family to return anytime too. He also got Baylor to adopt Maha officially. Later on, Baylor tells Luke that he can open a new shop somewhere because he sees potential as a merchant in Luke, and it is part of his plan too. Maha and Tart are completely infatuated by Luke, doing everything they can for him. He lets them sleep beside him too because they both lost their parents. Yeah, Luke, we get it. Luke comes up with the idea of creating a store for women. Instead of making it a store for makeup, he introduces moisturizer to this world to avoid dry skin and enhance makeup. Good for him, this world didn't know about it. He makes the source of combining water and oil come from Tuatha and hires only a few manufacturers, so their manufacturing secret isn't disclosed and there's not much competition in the market. By 6 months, the shop is trending around the area and competitors are leaving spies to find their secret ingredient. Being an angel at heart, Luke lets Maha hire her old friends in the shop so they can have an earning too. It's crazy how some competitor decides to sneak into Luke's room and tries to abduct him to get the secret ingredient. Like, chill bro, it's just a moisturizer. However, Tart and Maha have been trained well enough that Luke didn't even have to do anything. The 2 girls then tie the man naked to a chair and start pulling out his nails, torturing him to confess. Looks like Luke taught them a little too well. Nah. On a slight side note, the goddess has sent more than 400 murderers to this world to assassinate the hero, but whoever she sees for evaluation has been failing brutally so far. But the questions remain, who exactly is this hero? Once a month, Luke flies off and visits Dia. The 2 of them spend some quality time together, and Dia also shares the new spell she created, making it a memorable day for the 2 of them. Coming back home, he sleeps like usual, only to wake up with a little adolescent peekaboo. As the poor guy blabbers about it being involuntary, the 2 girls seem to be having very disturbing thoughts for him, clearly showing how real their infatuation for him is. Luke is glad for all that he has done in this city and all the people he has made a connection with. Tuatha has been given independent assassin tasks for her to groom. As the 2 years are completing, he wants to leave his business, honor, and the information management from the town to Maha. Maha is glad that she'll be able to serve him, and when Luke notices how she wants to expand the business to be able to reopen the shop she lost with the murder of her parents, he doesn't stop her. The rest of the girls also appreciate whatever Luke has done for them, even though he coincidentally saved them. He did. Before leaving, Maha shares how her father always told her to doubt someone a lot before trusting them, something that Luke himself stands by. She doubted him a lot up until the end, and she knew he only needed her because she had mana, and he wanted to use her for his goals. But even then, she couldn't stop herself from trusting him and helping him do whatever he wishes. On the journey back, Tart mentions Maha being in love with him, but Luke corrects her that it's just admiration. Their carriage is attacked by wolf monsters, but Tart takes this as a training opportunity and shows her skills to Luke. Luke praises that she has earned her fame. Reaching home, Esri hugs him as if he's still her 5-year-old. He goes to meet his father in the office, where Kian tells him how he never got a chance to get out of the assassination business. But seeing his merchandise skills and Mr. Baylor's offer for Luke to continue the business, Kian is tempted to let his son choose whatever he wants. Kian warns Luke that they'll be executed if they ever get caught as assassins, or even if their clients end up spying on them. But Luke already knows that well and fully plans on continuing this role. However, 14-year-old Cutie also has another reason to want that. He has to stay a part of the noble Tuatha family because he is in love with Dia and he wants to marry her one day. Kian is proud of his son and gives him his first solo task. He hands him the information of the target, leaving it to Luke on how he executes him. Luke has to kill Count Usbar Venkor, a noble who sells military secrets in exchange for drugs and then spreads those drugs in the entire kingdom. Luke and Tardit send a message for Maha to collect some intel on this person to see if he should be killed. After getting bombarded by his mum that he has become an adult and he should get married and reproduce now, Luke manages to focus on his work. Interesting how a 14-year-old is being called a marriable adult. Luke and Tart visit the town themselves because Luke wants to see the visual situation of the town before getting internal information from Maha. There, they find a little girl selling some jam, which is intoxicated. The two of them fight off some thugs before going to the girl's house and finding out she is using her daughter to get her drugged. Lug cleanses her body and leaves. By the time they reach home, Maha has already sent all the information, and Lug decides that Venkor needs to be assassinated. However, for one last check, he and Maha visit on behalf of Orna to promote their new moisturizer to his wife. On the journey, Maha gives weird ideas to Lug to have two mistresses other than Dia if he loves her, one being Tart and the other being Maha. What's bothersome is that they are under 18 kids, and the mention of Lug visiting brothels at the age of 14. They then used the party there to promote their product, as Lug analyzes Venkor from up close and gathers information about him. Later on, Lug and Tart hide on a mountain from where Lug uses his fire to shoot a copper bullet to Venkor's head from afar when he comes out to terrace at night. Once Lug is done with his job, the only thing that troubles him is the pain he sees in Venkor's wife. However, this sympathy doesn't mean he regrets killing the one who needed to be killed. Lug and Tart are returning from their trip to an isolated island and are received by Maha and some important information she wants to share with them. She has found some divine treasure. It is a magic spear owned by Satanta McNeth, also known as Kran's Hound. He seems to be a likely suspect of being a hero. Maha then shares bad news about a civil war breaking out in Swigel, and things have gotten bad enough that even Dia joined the Kingdom Army. Knowing she isn't safe, Lu visits her on priority. However, her enthusiasm upon seeing him and her nonchalant attitude makes it seem far from a problem. She consoles him that the war is far away from the castle and she's going to be safe, so he shouldn't worry about her. Lug wants her to leave with him to safety, but Dia refuses to leave her kingdom and flee. She then convinces him they should go on a date and change his hair color like him. The two of them talk around, enjoy some games, and have lunch together. All of those clearly express their feelings for each other. After helping a little kid find his mother, which is a clear act of kindness, but Lug mentions it as trying to make good memories of the day for Dia. Dia takes him to a hot spring. The two of them enjoy their swim in the hot spring as Dia tells him that her father has gone out to war too, and she's sure that he's going to return alive even if he loses. She tells Lug that she wants to wait for her father and be there whenever he returns. Lug understands her point of view and tells her that he'll be ready to take her away whenever she feels like it. It is clear from Dia's actions that she is enjoying her fullest, as if the moments are her last ones with Lug. Lug leaves while promising a home-cooked lunch for their next day, while a teary-eyed Dia smiles at him as if knowing something he doesn't. The moment Lug leaves, she turns around and says they don't need to act anymore, only for almost all of the bypassing civilians to remove their clothes and reveal themselves as armored knights bowing for Dia to pass by them. Lug is in his town missing Dia when Tart takes him home in haste. He finds an injured man being catered to by his parents, while Kian tells him that they've got an assassination command, and that is to murder Dia Vacone, leaving Lug too stunned to react. It turns out that the noble Vacones were defeated in the Civil War, but Count giving up most of his land and wealth wasn't enough for the greedy nobles. They have gotten their eyes on the beautiful and talented Dia and want to get their hands on her. Count Vicone himself requested this, and he wants them to fake Dia's death and help her escape so that his daughter is safe. Things are finally making sense to Luke. Kian tells him that he will be going for this job himself if Luke refuses, but he doesn't have enough strength anymore to travel that far healthily. He also mentions Esrai being from the Vacone family as well, so Dia is technically Luke's cousin. Luke agrees to go for it for 3 reasons. He owes Dia for teaching him magic, he loves her, and he promises to be there for her whenever she needs him. The next day, Tart tells Luke that she'll accompany him halfway since she doesn't have the strength to be at his pace on the entire journey. She decides to help in her unique way. Creating a windshield, she'll be carrying Luke at her pace, so Luke's mana is preserved for as long as possible. As they start their journey, Tart gives her everything to keep moving forward. She knows Luke only needs her, and hired her for his use, but she doesn't mind becoming a tool to him, because at least she's needed by him in some way. Tata keeps pushing herself forward till she loses her strength to even stand up. She covers a good amount of distance for Luke, and then tells him to come back with her if he loves her. However, the moment Luke moves ahead, Tart breaks down, having to have her first love let go. Reaching near the castle, Luke notices the strength and number of the army. He uses his rifle, but they're quick to find the direction of source, making him know Dia has been using rifles on them as well. He then uses an arrow and a far stone, so that when it lands on the ground, an explosion is caused. Doing this twice or thrice has got the enemy panicked and all over the place. This makes the palace guards rush out and use this opportunity to their benefit. Taking a dead girl's body to use to fake Dia's death, Luke finally reaches the study room where Dia and her father are. Maha receives an intel about the hero which she forwards hastily to Tuatha. Luke gives a plan for Veikoni and Dia. After Dia shouts that she can't see her people suffering because of her, Luke puts this room on fire, making it look like Dia committed suicide. Then Luke and Dia will escape and Veikon will flee to work on winning the kingdom back. However, the master plan goes downhill when Luke senses some danger when she opens a window and barely saves her as a giant weapon attacks her. Finally, the so-called hero has appeared. The guy who defeated the Veikons, Setanta as Maha speculated, is indeed the hero that went berserk with power. Luke uses his bombarding tanker to attack the hero, but it's of no use. This makes Luke realize that he is indeed way stronger. Setanta challenges Luke on a duel, telling him he'll leave the land if Luke defeats him. Meanwhile, Kian and Ezri receive Maha's intel and are alarmed by it. Luke tells Veikon and Dia that he's going to accept the challenge, but also tells them there's no way he can win against that person in a duel. But since he's good at assassination, he's going to assassinate that guy. While saying all that, Luke creates a giant bullet-shaped metal piece and throws it somewhere. He then tells Dia to hide and takes Veikon with him to be a witness to the situation. Going there, he is counting on some time and dragging the situation by talking to the Setanta to evacuate the place for now, and sets the conditions to make a knight promise to leave the land if he loses, and also shares that he'll abduct the princess and kill everyone if Luke loses. Luke agrees with all this and then tosses the coin in the air, saying they'll start the duel the moment the coin hits the ground. However, before the coin can reach the ground, that giant bullet strikes right where the hero is, creating a massive explosion. Flashback to Luke's entire plan. It wasn't baselessly trying to fight against the one who has numerous skills. He had planned the perfect assassination by creating different metals with spells, then creating anti-gravity spells, and then creating wind control spells. All this combined had that metal bullet reach the orbit and then freefall without catching fire, so greater damage isn't caused. The only risk was the accuracy of calculations. But Luke isn't that lousy to mess up after working on himself since he was born. The land has been destroyed with Setanta, but the people are safe and peace has been restored. And with a kiss to Dia, the romance has been restored as well, giving our assassin the perfect second chance at luck. Getting Dia safely to the kingdom, Kian tells Luke that she'll be living in disguise as his younger sister from now on. Bro might be a genius, but all pretty girls ended up becoming his sisters one way or the other. Kian also tells Luke that the hero has stepped into the kingdom, which means the demon lord will appear too. It turns out Setanta wasn't the hero after all. With that, the hero, Epona Rhiannon, is introduced into the kingdom.